I'm rich, bitch. David Chappelle. If you guys haven't watched David Chappelle, he's actually pretty funny, pretty poignant. Is very much in tune with what's going on these days. But yes, I am rich because why? I have the global currencies that I've been after the whole time. Remember, guys? Silver 5150 on location. I was going to be traveling around the world and trying things and meeting people and eating things. And I was all set because I have all the global currency. Wait a minute. That is real global currency. Silver. For today's morning update on April 15th, Wednesday, 2020, I'm going to talk to you about hyperinflation real quick and a quick mention about what's going on in the markets. Markets this morning are pointed down. Why? Because there was some irrational exuberance yesterday at the Fed and the Treasury trying to make things look very sunny and peachy and spending a lot of money to boost the equity markets, equities being, of course, the Dow, S&P 500, small caps, and NASDAQ. And then, of course, to use that same, or use more of that money to buy phony paper contracts in the metals markets to try to keep the metals from making too many gains yesterday. And that same practice is being used today, except they're going to have to let the equity markets cool down a little bit. So everything's pointed down. I think right now, equities, the big four that I mentioned earlier, are down anywhere from 2.5% to 4%. And that's going to go on throughout the day. I don't think they can produce a green day today after they got everybody all worked up yesterday, here at the beginning of the week and the day before. So they're going to have a little steam off, let the valve, go, and make sure that they, save some money for later in the week. They want to make sure they close green on Friday. They being the ports of Treasury and the Federal Reserve and any other central banks and governments that want to try to create this phony prosperity that they have going with phony printed paper money. All right. Notice I got a lot of 1920s Weimar, German stuff here, of course, because 1920, well, in the 19 teens coming out of World War II into the mid 1920s is when, of course, the big Weimar hyperinflation happened, where this one Reichsmark, or one like it, went to 88 billion. I think that was the biggest one they had printed, almost $1 trillion Reichsmark at that time. And these are the ones that followed after they went to the hyperinflation. They had to restructure the debt. They had just enough gold to do it, but they actually did it based on land. This right here is currency that was out of the Weimar Republic, and it was basically backed by land. Okay, so these things were backed by land, and that is what got their economy stable again for a little bit, heading into World War II. And of course, that made things a lot easier for Hitler because they had to socialize everything just about, and he was able to come into power. And that's what happens when you have big hyperinflations and things that devalue your nation's ability to be prosperous. It makes people very easily susceptible to some new ism or dictator or leader that's going to drag you even further down later on because you thought they were the next new thing, or like we like to say, the new hotness. All right, so expect metals to be down today too. They're trying to foment this notion that if equities are down, then metals are down. And in a healthy market, that actually makes sense because everything's valued in dollars. So if the dollar's having a good day up, that means that anything valued in dollars that day is going to be down, right? Okay, but this is not healthy markets. These are unstable markets. These are markets that are completely distorted by all of the money printing, right? And so what should be happening is that gold and silver and all the other precious metals, including copper, should be going sky high simply because of limited supply, because mines and stuff are shutting down. You guys, yep, you know this. Mines are shutting down and airplanes are flying over the Mexican mountains and stealing shipments. And all that. And so metals should be up today. Commodities, period, should be up today because of the demand that's out there. You've got farms shutting down. You've got meat, ranches shutting down. The biggest pork ranch shut down a couple days ago, for example. And so all of these commodities, all these physical things should be, going up in price, but they're not. All right. Enough of that. Listening to a guru last night, I think it was Arcadia Economics, talking to a gentleman that's one of the biggest hedge fund managers out there, and he is saying that diversity is not necessarily always the best thing. It depends on what you want to be financially down the road when you have something new coming along. We're going to have this new era coming along, and they say when you have huge crises like this that transform the economic system globally, you actually probably want to be less diverse and probably hedged into the next big thing. The trick is finding out what the next big thing is. We know right now that the wealth cycle we're in is actually the dollar. The dollar, the U.S. dollar, the U.S. Federal Reserve note is the current wealth cycle we're in. You can buy anything with those, and you can buy a lot, whatever's not nailed down. The dollar is very strong right now. You can still buy a lot of stuff. You can buy silver for you can get it for like $25. You can't get it for 15. But you get my drift. Those prices in commodities are completely distorted, and so you shouldn't be able to buy silver for less than probably $170. Now I'm just going with the 10-to-1 natural parity, the gold to silver ratio coming out of the ground and in the Bible and in history. All right. So that means the dollar's strong, and you can take advantage of it, and you can really, really have fun in this wealth cycle right now if you understand that you're in it and you don't sit on top of your dollars and let them start to fizzle and fade away. Because once the hyperinflation hits, once we get past this deflation that we're in, and the deflation is an environment where a currency that is running the show can do really well, but once this deflation's over and a lot of that money that's being printed and used to support banks, used to support business, starts to make its way back into the general economy after the limited goods and services, remember, a lot of businesses are shut down, it's going to start to hyperinflate all of the goods and services out there, and hyperinflation will hit $400 gasoline, $2,000 set of tires or a tire, and just take your pick. What do you want to say? $40 Big Mac. Okay. All right, so hyperinflation is going to come, and you don't necessarily want to be too diverse in your portfolios if you want to be like in the big money. I think that silver is going to be the next wealth cycle. Gold is going to be there, but gold is going to be like the backbone of everything. But in terms of the momentum and the action and the fun, you're going to have, I think some people say cryptos, I say silver, but I think silver is going to work with cryptos, and I think you'll be able to buy cryptos with silver, especially at these new valuations, and you'll be able to get Bitcoin for like, 1-to-1 with an ounce of silver, perhaps. Okay? So just do the math on that. I cannot believe the dog is barking this early in the morning, but I guess that's how they play. Anyway, so this is a little long this morning. We're going to talk about stuff. Hey guys, could you knock it off, please? I'm trying to film. Thanks. Sorry about that. And so, anyway, hyperinflation, always a problem, right? And so, if you're in precious metals, you're good. I mean, if you're mostly in precious metals, I hear these 5%, 10%. No, I'm in all the way. I am all in on precious metals. I'm all in on silver, but my gold to silver ratio, guys, is something like 1 to 2,000. Okay, I have like 1 ounce of gold for every 2,000 ounces of silver. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to show you how extreme I am and how in I am on silver. All right, enough about that. It turns out that copper is going to benefit from this because copper mines are shutting down. And I'm not saying copper is going to be money, but copper is definitely going to be a place to store some wealth, and it's probably going to be a good place to have collectible, quick liquidity to put out into the system. Later on, when silver becomes too expensive, people will be looking for another hard metal monetary asset or monetary-like asset to put their money in. Copper is probably going to be it. To that effect, Golden State Mint now has a really good deal. And I think it was Now We Ride yesterday, one of my subscribers that had mentioned that. I looked on there, 69 cents if you buy a certain volume of copper coins. And they're nice copper coins, 69 cents a piece. You really can't beat that. That means you can get a monster box of 500 for around $350. Think about that. All right, moving right along. The quote of the day, which is actually a quote that came in last night, and it's from the great Silver Joker. I want to make sure I don't mess this up. He said last night, and guys, you wait till you finally figure out the impact and the poignance of what he said here. He says, I need to keep silver coming into my stack because the future is still on its way. Is that not something? I got goosebumps just saying it again. I'll say it one time. I need to keep silver coming into my stack because the future is still on its way. Man, that is one for the ages, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Not trying to, not trying to butter, not trying to grandstand anything like that. But that really hit me hard last night. I actually had a hard time sleeping. All right. So that's going to do it for today. But we're talking about hyperinflation today and how all these currencies, for example, are all extinct. They all meant something. Big denominations and stuff. And I think this one's still functional, though. You can probably use this in the Cayman Islands still, but it's like the only one. The rest of them are completely, outlawed, disbanded, and gotten rid of. But at the time, people that had them thought they were doing pretty good, that they were rich. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go. But before I go, keep yourselves healthy, all right? And be sure to stay tuned for the show tonight. Chaga in any form, chaga extract, powders, teas, capsules, liposomal vitamin C. All right. Liposodium, vitamin C, lots of vitamin D3, as much as you want, pretty much, unless you're outside working all the time, you're getting a lot from the sun. I use C60 olive oil. This is something you can find in capsules, on Amazon. Anything else you want to throw in to help boost your immune system? You want to keep your immune system jacked up. So if the bug shows up, the doors are locked and there are armed guards at the gate. And you want them to gun it down as soon as it thinks about coming in. All right. Just think about the guys that served over in Iraq and over in the desert and stuff. How somebody tried to rush the gate. They, didn't have a good day. That's how you want to. That's how you want to treat this COVID-19 virus. All right. So we know the real money is here. All right. We're going to use the beautiful Grand Canyon this morning as our display coin, the 2-ounce coin from JM Bullion. They still have these, by the way. They're still around, anywhere from $53 to $48, depending on your volume pricing. All right. But just keep in mind, the great gurus out there, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, when they did their businesses, that was their diversification, their business. They poured their money and their resources into that one business. All right, Microsoft or Facebook or what have you. And they came out to be some of the richest men on earth. Jeff Bezos poured his money into Amazon, or I don't know. I think that's the history of it anyway. But you see where they're at now. They're at the top of the heap. And there was not a lot of diversification in their strategy. All right. I don't know if they thought they were going to become as big as they were, but they did pretty well. All right. So if your diversification strategy is different types of silver coins, meaning you're diverse like me, you're probably going to be all right. Okay. Probably going to be all right, because right now we're in a dollar wealth cycle and we're going to move on to a hard money wealth cycle from here. But we got to put up with all of the gymnastics before that happens. Okay. These are the gymnastics. All the money printing and all of the currency juggling and all of the promises and all of the, covering and the banks and the keeping them open in the system and all that's got to die. And then we can get to what's real. All right, guys. Thanks for putting up with this longer morning report. But go out, watch the markets bleed today. Don't trip, because we know the real valuations of gold and silver. Nothing like they're putting on the board. You're going to see today, probably going to be down about 2% on all metals, if not more. But it's just phony baloney until the real show starts. All right? Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you tonight with a really good show. Really good show. All right? Talk to you guys later.